Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Women of Golf Show. I'm Ted Odorico, and alongside here, of course, each and every week is LPGA professional Cindy Miller. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning, Ted.
And how are you this morning up in Buffalo?
I'm good. We've got a winter storm watch.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's a watch, then an advisory, then a warning, then shovels.
Then shovels, exactly. So Alan better get himself ready because it's coming. Let me just very quickly. We got a great show for you today this morning, and just to remind everybody, of course, Cindy and I are the hosts of the Women of Golf Show. We're very pleased that you're joining us here this morning on February 9th. And let me just very quickly, Cindy, before we get into things, just remind everybody, of course, we are on blogtalkradio.com. Best way to find us is go to blogtalkradio.com, up in the search key type Women of Golf, and that will take you to the home page, if you will, and you can listen to the show from there. And you can listen to it on a variety of different mediums, whether you're on your iPhone, whether you're on an iPad, or even just sitting at home or work on your computer. So lots of great ways to tune into the program. If you can't join us live between 9 and 10 Eastern, a.m. Eastern Time, you're welcome to visit the link, blogtalkradio.com/Women of Golf. And you can check out in the on-demand section all the previously aired shows, including this morning's show a little bit later. You can also go to iTunes.com, and under the podcast section, you can type in Women of Golf, and you can also listen through iTunes.com for those of you that do that. So we thank you very much for joining us each and every week, and we appreciate all of the continued support. Also, if you want to speak to Cindy and I, we encourage you. We would love to have you call in. Call area code 347-945-5855. Again, that number is 347-945-5855. And we, particularly during this next week's coming up, we've got a great series that Cindy has brought back, the Own Your Game series, which is from her Own Your Game Academy at cindymillergolf.com. And this morning we're going to be talking about Define Your Game. And joining us this morning here in just a few moments for the discussion is going to be a young lady that was on with us, I believe, May of last year. Her name is Alejandra Laniza, and she was the winner of the Symetra Tour Self-Regional Healthcare Foundation Women's Health Classic last year, and we had her on to talk a little bit about her win and a little bit about life on the Symetra Tour. So she's going to be joining us, and then a little bit later on in the broadcast, a young lady that I've had on the other show, Golf Talk Live, Valerie Moore. She's an LPGA and PGA Class A member and also the owner of Moore Mobile Golf, and we'll talk a little bit about that when she joins us. But very excited to have this series. We talked about it here for several weeks now, and today is going to be the first of that series. Cindy, let's just talk a little bit about what you've got planned for today and roughly how many components are going to be in the series.
Well, we've got 10 to 12 components, and it's my passion, I guess you would say, is to be very transparent and honest and reveal truth for those who choose to create solutions with their golf game. The ball goes where the face points, right, and the only one holding the club is you. So in my personal journey of trying to learn to own my game, I have had the courage, if you will, and the wherewithal to really look in the mirror to find out what is wrong with Cindy and how good can she be.
Right.
And that being said, the announcement this week that there will be a U.S. Women's Senior Open in
Yes.
July of 2018 at Chicago Golf Club, I am choosing to look in the mirror and say, okay, the first initial response might be, wow, you're really going to be old. I'm going to be 62. But you know, those who, you have to be at least 50 to play.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the guidelines will be to become exempt or to qualify. But I was down in the basement working out this morning because I've got a new goal and a mission and a vision. So the parts to this program are, okay, so define your game.
Yeah.
Why are you here? What are you looking for? Where are you now? How did you get here? Where do you want to go? And those
Right.
are the questions we're going to ask Alejandra because this is might be her first, maybe her second full season on the LPGA Tour as an exempt player. Last year she had partial status. She played on the Symetra Tour and became exempt this year through very good play. So we have to say to her, you know, how do you measure up? She made the cut last week. I did not look to see if she made the cut in the Bahamas, but she's a very good player, and she's, in my opinion, has all the makings to be a superstar. So we're going to ask her those questions. Next session will be pregame. You know, who are you? What's your behavior style? Alejandra is very shy and quiet.
Yeah.
She's diligent. She's a little bit of a perfectionist. She's not a party animal. You can tell by that soft-spoken nature. But some people are louder, you know, like Suzanne Pedersen or Tiger Woods, a little more competitive. The next part will be the game plan. The next part is the physical game, the mental game, the emotional game, mind games. Who's going to play mind games with you, and how well can you handle those mind games? And then play your game, and then the post game. So those are the sessions we're going to discuss.
Yeah, and that's a great, some great components to this series, and I like that because a lot of people, you know, Cindy, you and I know this from playing golf and from being around the industry for a long time, that most people, especially a lot of the high handicappers out there, and this is really who this is for. I mean, the professionals have played long enough, they've been in around the sport long enough to understand what they need to focus and what they need to work on, and they certainly are very diligent on their physical game. But there's other components, and we're going to talk about that as we go throughout the series. But the biggest mistake that I think that a lot of amateur and high handicap players do is they solely focus on the physical side of their game. And I'm not talking about working out and that sort of thing. I'm talking about, you know, spending too much time on the range and not enough time out in the golf course. Would you agree with that, do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's not enough time on the golf course, and I think it's not enough time of knowing what they're doing.
Right, right.
We're doing the Own Your Game Academy, a 4-month program in Buffalo for the winter, and a couple of our students say, you know, I can make 3 or 4 pars in a row and then I hit one out of bounds. Well, the first question is why?
Yeah.
Why did that happen? And for those who really have the courage to look in the mirror, we can answer those questions of why. And would you want to know why, and do you want to fix it? Because sometimes we don't want to see what we don't want to see, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and that's true. And you know, you have to have an overall game plan. It's not just about what shots you want to hit throughout the round and positioning yourself. I mean, they're certainly key things, but you have to understand from the mental side of the game how to prepare yourself. And you know, as you put earlier, you know, Cindy, in preparation for a couple of years down the road for the U.S. Senior Women's Open, I mean, if you want to be an active participant and really go out and give it your best, you know, you've got to take a look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, what do I need to do to get myself ready? What am I going to need to do to make sure that I have an opportunity to even play in the U.S. Senior Women's Open? So there's a lot of factors that go involved in being golf ready. And it's not just about going out and hitting a bucket of balls at the driving range. And we're going to cover a lot of that in your series. And we're just waiting for Alejandra to join us here in just a moment or two, and then we're going to begin that. But now, just very quickly while we wait for her, Cindy, I know that your boot camps are filled up, but just remind everybody again when they are coming up, and you're probably going to be having some more, correct?
Yes. So next week, Orange County National, there is one spot open if anybody really feels like they need to come. Somebody backed out, so we've got one spot open. at Orange County National, February 14th through the 18th. And then again, April 6th to the 10th, that one is booked. But I must tell you that we're going to do the Own Your Game Academy online webinar series starting Monday night, April 4th. It's going to run 4 Monday nights. You can listen live and participate or play it back as many times as you choose. 4 Monday nights, April 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And included in this series are 3 online assessments. The How Do You Learn Audiovisual Kinesthetic, your learning style assessment, your behavior style, which is what we're going to discuss next week when we discuss the pregame, who am I, how do I learn, how do I make judgments, and the mental golf profile by Golf Psych. So 3 online assessments, 4 one-hour classes, and the price is $249.
Perfect. Very good. We'll give that information again before we sign off today. I see that she's ready to join us here. So let me just read just out a little bit to just remind everybody of our very special guest this morning that's joining us for the Own Your Game series. That's Alejandra Lanisa, and she was the winner of the Symetra Tour Self-Regional Healthcare Foundation Women's Health Classic in 2015. She was a 5-time Mexican junior national champion and was a member of the 2008 Mexican national team at the World Amateur Golf Team Championships. She played golf at the University of Arizona, was named a 2008 Pacific 10 Conference Honorable Mention. She won the 2011 Cactus Tour event at Wigwam and was a member of the Symetra Tour in 2012. She graduated from University of Arizona in 2007. She was a 5-time state champion in Mexico City and a 5-time national champion, and picked up a first-place finish at the Texas Junior Golf Tour. She's played, obviously, golf for a long, long time, and she played in 6 LPGA tournaments in Mexico. Please welcome Alejandra Lanisa.
Good morning.
How are you guys?
We're very well.
How are you?
Good.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
We're glad that you could join us back, and Alejandra, thank you very much for joining us. And Cindy, let's start with the series. I'm going to turn this over to you and let you begin the Own Your series, Define Your Game.
Where are you right now?
I'm in Dallas.
You're in Dallas.
That's where my base is.
Marvelous, marvelous. So we've just started this week the Own Your Game Academy series, which is going to be, we haven't decided whether it's 10 or 12 weeks. And my passion in life is to help people become as good as they possibly can. And when we start this series, the first part of it is to define your game. So we'd like to use you kind of as our tour player guinea pig, if you will. And we want to know, what do you love about playing golf?
Well, the main thing I love, and since I was little, it's the fact that you can always get better at something. So with golf, is you always have a challenge, and you always have an area where you can be better than you were in your last round. So that's what keeps me going, and it's, you never get to a point where you say, oh, I got it. Even when if you're number 1 in the world, you have something that you can improve. So I think that keeps it fun.
And, it's funny that you say that, because I teach a lot of kids, and I tell them that when I do events on the LPGA Tour, the PGA Tour, or the Symetra Tour, that one of the first questions that I ask the players is, what are you working on? So I would like to ask you that. What are you working on right now?
Well, different things. But on my swing, I've been working. Actually, I started this with you back in Rochester, where we did the body track.
Yes.
And so I've been working on that, keeping my weight more even throughout my swing, because I have a tendency to go on my toes a little bit. And then just in my short game, just kind of keeping my arms a little bit closer to my body to keep everything more compact. But also like on the golf course, I like the mental approach, I think it's very important too. So it's I do a lot of breathing exercises and started doing some meditation to get ready for the tournament.
Perfect. Let me ask you a question. I was just at the PGA show, and 4 or 5 years ago there was a booth there with a device called the Focus Band. And I was so interested in it because, you know, I was trying to fix me so I could play better on the Legends Tour. And I'm always looking for ways to help me focus and concentrate and not be as crazy as I typically am. And this year, the Focus Band has now, it was like $3,500, and I was like, I can't shell out that much money to help me. Not that I'm not worth it. I just didn't have it in the budget. But now the Focus Band, you can purchase it for like $600, and you can use it with its app, or you can use it with the Flight Scope. So I purchased it, and of course you met Alan, my husband, as well when we were at the Symetra Tour event in Rochester. But we hooked it up yesterday, and I must tell you, it's awesome. It is really awesome, and Jason Day's been working with it. My question is, have you heard of it? Are you using it? Do you know anything about it?
No, I haven't.
Well,
what is it?
Well, what it does is it tries to get you, they call it mushin, and they say that mushin is a Japanese term for brain dead, basically, right brain. And it measures, it's a headband, and there's a program, an app that you download on your iPhone or your iPad. So I was using it last night while I was on the treadmill. And you put this headband on, and it helps you get to mushin, which is right brain ready to swing. And it measures the amount of brain activity and eye movement. So at first, the lower your number, the worse, you know, you've got distractions and mental thoughts and stuff going on. And I started at 25, and I practiced last night, and I got to quiet eye like 5 times, and I got my score up to 98, which is kind of where you need to be relaxed, to be able to visualize a shot, to be able to pull it off. So when we get done, I'll send you the YouTube link for the webinar series that I watched.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, this thing is awesome. And you could sit there and practice with it on a plane. You know,
right.
You can also use it while you're playing golf to see, you know, needless to say, when you're sitting down, it's going to be a better rating than when you're standing up over a putt. But you can practice while you're playing golf to see how your internal dialogue is screwing you up, and the chatter in your mind is interfering with being able to pull a shot off. So I'm so visual that it was great. And the other piece of equipment is Opti Brain, which Debbie Cruz, who's near, you know, Arizona, she's at Phoenix at Arizona State, I bought that thing too, again, for the brain thing, to try to get your brain to balance. And needless to say, my brain was a little more wired than Alan's, but it was balanced. So it was balanced at a crazy level, and Alan's balanced at a more even level. But the Focus Band, it really seemed a little easier for me.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds very interesting. And, I mean, that's basically the goal, like with what I've been working on here, so that you can be quiet enough in your mind that you can just let your body use the training that you've been teaching it, so you can do the shot that you want to do.
That's exactly what we want.
Alejandra, let me just interject here real quick on that note. What are some things that you do to try to help quiet your mind down when you're playing, especially when you're over a shot? Because there are a lot of things that can creep in, as most players that have played on the tour know that. What do you do to sort of quiet your mind down in preparation for that shot?
Well, I do a couple of things. One is, when I'm walking down the fairway, if I notice that I'm having a lot of thoughts, then I just focus on my breathing, and then mostly on feeling things like the temperature, or feeling the air going in and out when you're breathing, and so things that make you be more in a physical or present state. And I also took so there's a sponsor in Mexico, actually, a nonprofit that has helped all of us professionals, and they raise money and they help us pay for our entry fees and hotels, and they also took all of us to a Vision 54 camp for 3 days. We've done that over 2 years, and over there they were teaching us how to be present through our senses. So they tell you to pick a play box, which is focus for those 5 seconds that you're over the ball. So when I stand behind the ball, I choose something very clear, whether it's to keep my tempo even throughout the swing or to keep my grip pressure the same, because sometimes it can vary. So when you're focusing on something that you actually have to do and put your mind to, then you don't have all the noise that you can have when you're hitting the shot.
Very good. Excellent. Thank you. Cindy, go ahead.
Lynn, it's here. Awesome. Did you really find that camp valuable? I've been to it a couple times.
Yes, I loved it, and I took so many useful things from it. And the last time I did it, I think, was last March. But I mean, I do so many things that we've learned there, because we have gone 2 or 3 times. There's something new that we learn, and also learning. We learned about adrenaline, and this is one of the main things, is to control your level. So you just have to be aware if you're in a high adrenaline level. Then we learn if you do a longer exhale, then it goes down, or if you're feeling too relaxed, then you do a shorter exhale when you're breathing, and then you can get it back up. So learning that you can control that is very cool.
Very good. Cindy?
How often do you practice?
Golf?
Yeah.
6 days a week.
6 days a week. And when you practice, about how long is your practice session?
Well, it varies. Like if I have 2 weeks at home, then maybe I'll have like 6 to 7 hours of practice. If I'm
per day?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, between playing and well, I guess that's it. Playing, putting, short game.
So you have this week off, right?
Yes, but when if I'm in between tournaments, then that's like preseason. But if I'm in between tournaments, then usually I take 2 days off of the week, and then I'll do like 5 hours of practice.
Wow. So let's say you take Monday and Tuesday off.
Mhm.
And then starting tomorrow, how many hours will you practice tomorrow through, say, Saturday?
Let's see. Well, I'm leaving on Thursday, so this week's kind of different. But it's, 15 or 20. I take lessons, so it depends on how long the lesson takes too. And I put that in those hours.
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot of practice time. But you to play it. Yeah.
I just want to ask when you practice. So let's say you don't have a lesson tomorrow, and you're going to practice. Will you go out and play a few holes after you practice hitting balls and working on your short game, or do you just do range and chipping and putting?
Oh no, I do playing a lot, and that's why also it goes so much time, because for me I like to play, go on the golf course a lot more than being on the range. So I'll be on the range for like an hour and then go play 9 holes and then come back and do short game. And if I found something on the course that maybe I want to work a little bit on the range, I'll go back to the range.
When you play, do you hit a couple balls?
Yes, I do. Depends on what I choose. What I found is that if I don't have a very clear focus before I go play when I'm practicing, then it can get overwhelming. So if I'm working on something in my swing where I want to see it on the golf course, then I'll take a few balls and I don't worry about score. Or if I'm working on short game, then I'll drop 2 or 3 balls around the green and try to get them all up and down. And so it just depends on what I'm working on in that time.
Now, as far as physical, what do you do working out on you?
I have a trainer here in Dallas, and he works with a lot of tour players. So when I'm in Dallas, I see him every day. And then we have a program on the road that I do with stretch bands, and it's been very, very helpful for especially for stability and just feeling like I have better awareness of my body and what I want to do with my swing.
That's awesome. I don't think people realize the commitment and dedication and the awareness that you are your only inventory, and if you don't take care of you, you won't be able to perform at your best.
Yes, exactly. It's funny you say that because when I was back home, I went on a vacation with my family, and we went to Cancun. So, you think like, okay, you're going to relax, but at this point, I'm starting to get ready for the season. So, I would go practice in the mornings and then relax in the afternoon, and then at night I would do the workout. And my cousin was, it was like 7:00, and I'm leaving to go work out, and she just looks at me. She's like, I don't know how you do it. How are you so disciplined? And I told her, I was like, well, it's my job, and it's what I need, what I know that I need to do to be ready. So it's like you're the only one that's keeping yourself accountable, but you have to use every tool you can to make sure that you're at your best level.
Well, can I ask you what your goals are for this year?
Well, results-wise, I would like to go to the tournament in Asia at the end of the year. So that would mean I have to be between top 60 or top 70 on the money list.
How about the Olympics?
Yes, the Olympics is definitely there. There's right now I'm in the field with another girl from Mexico that's also on the LPGA, so that's a big goal. And having a medal there would be
that would be great. My daughter's going to be the Jimmy Roberts producer in Rio, so I'm going to have her come and introduce herself to you. That's going to be great.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm
really looking forward to that.
Let me just go back just real quick. I want to ask Alejandra a quick question. You talked about earlier on about your practice regime, and on a regular practice day, it could be as much as 7 hours. Does that include your workout time as well, or is your workout on top of the 7 hours of practice?
That includes the workout.
Oh, okay.
Well, the thing is, it depends on the day, but when I was 16 years old, and Lorena Ochoa was number 1 in the world, she actually invited me to practice with her in Guadalajara during her preseason. So I got to see how the number 1 player in the world was training, and I was there for a full week, and so I kind of took a lot of the things that she did in her practice from that week, and that's about how long it would take us. And I mean, if you have a purpose and you're entertained, really, it goes by pretty fast.
You got to be driven. Let me ask you a question. I know that Under Armour Mexico is one of your sponsors, and they do an awful lot of stuff for kids. Do you do anything with Under Armour children in Mexico?
No, I haven't. I would like to, but I haven't so far.
That'd be something that'd be fun.
Yeah, it would be. Well, they're still kind of working on their women's golf line, so. But yeah, I'm hoping that I can do something like that because it's in Mexico. The brand is growing so much.
That's great. Yeah, they do need to work on the women's golf line a little bit. Their shirts are great, and the kids, almost every kid that I teach wears Under Armour shirts, but the skirts and stuff, not so much.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're getting there, but and I've been with them since I turned pro, and I really like the brand and the quality, so that's why I've stayed with them.
What clubs do you use?
I have Titleist, irons, wedges, and Scotty Cameron putter, and I have a Callaway 3-wood and a TaylorMade driver.
And what shafts are in your Titleist irons?
The I forgot the name. There's Silos, I think. I don't remember, but it's a steel shaft, but it's like the lightest one you can get, and it's a regular shaft. Is
it a Nippon 750?
It's similar to that one, but I think it's even lighter than that.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's cool. And are they men's standard length, or are they a little shorter?
They're half an inch shorter.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'2".
Okay. So
on a good day.
Men's. Yeah, but you pound it. So they're men's standard, just a half inch short, so they're really a half inch longer than ladies.
Yeah, probably. And
you have
the
no
driver
idea.
I have. So my clubs, I just hit them. If I hit them well, I put them in the bag, but I don't know what they are.
No, I know. That's the way everybody is. It's like, yeah, whatever. This one works. I'll take it. Thanks. What about your driver?
So my driver is men's standard length.
All right. Graphite shaft?
Yeah, that one's graphite.
Is it stiff or regular?
Oh, it's regular, yeah.
Okay.
Regular and 10.5 degrees.
All right, cool.
Let me,
Alejandro, let me just ask one more question, then you can have her. What would you tell a young girl who has aspirations of playing on the LPGA Tour with all that you've been through and all you've learned, because you graduated from college 9 years ago?
Yeah, well, when was it? I graduated in 11, so 7 years ago.
I thought it was 7. Sorry, 5 years ago.
Oh, no, that's okay. 7. I would tell her to just make sure she has fun, practice a lot, but I think the main thing is to not worry about the comparing herself to all the girls around her, because that's very easy to do every time you get to a higher level. You think, everyone that's here is here because they're better than me, or they, because they're all great players, but I would tell them if you're there, it's because of your hard work and because you have the ability to take yourself there. So I would tell her to have fun and stick to what she knows works, and everybody has their own formula. So it's great to take and learn from players that are older than you or that have done better in the past, but I think it's very important to keep to your own strengths.
Let me ask you one more thing about the committee of A, because I'm sure that people come up to you and want to give you their advice. How important is it for you to trust yourself and know that you are on your own path and your formula is just for you, and to be aware of who is safe and who is not?
Yeah, it's everything. You just have to, because it's like with a shot. The moment that you doubt something, then you're more than likely not going to hit it well. So it's the same thing with that. You have to be positive that you like the team that you surrounded yourself with, and if someone gives you advice, I mean, you kind of have to feel if it goes along with what makes sense to you, and then you decide if it can help you, or if it doesn't go along with what you've been working on, then you just say thank you and move on.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Alejandra, because somebody that plays at your level is certainly going to attract a lot of people that want to inject their, we see this all the time, on golf programs, whether it be on the Golf Channel or otherwise, and there'll be a lot of commentary about this person's swing and what they should and should not be doing. And that's great for commentary, but I'm sure as a tour player, you get a lot of people, as Cindy said, that come up to you and want to sort of say, well, maybe if you did this, or maybe if you did that. And so you have to learn to sort of take the information, to a point and appreciate somebody's comments, but at the same time, you have to have a certain filter to be able to not let some of these comments creep in. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, totally. I think you just have to be clear on what it is that you're working on, and then as soon as they give you that advice, then you kind of run it through that whole system that you have, and then if it fits somewhere, then you can try it out.
Sure.
And if it's something that doesn't feel like it's part of your program, then you discard it.
Very good. The question I was going to ask you before was actually really a very simple one. When you were talking about your driver, it was interesting that you said that you have a 10.5 degree lofted driver. And what kind of caught my interest there is I think a lot of amateur golfers out there tend to use drivers with not enough loft on that and have very difficult time getting the ball airborne. Obviously, the tour players know that you have to play with what, and certainly there are some tour players that use maybe a lower loft. But are you finding more of the tour players out there are using a little higher lofted than maybe what they used to, just to get some additional benefit?
Yeah, I've seen. I don't think I've seen a driver lower than 9.5. I mean, there may be a few, but
right.
Mostly everyone's using, or maybe 9, like 9.5, 10 degree drivers. I've seen players that have 11.5 drivers, and growing up, that was the misconception I had about the loft, and I thought, okay, lower loft is going to make my ball run more on the fairway, but as soon as I went to higher loft, I could carry the ball a lot further, and then the shaft is very important too, also, but I think higher loft can help you more, because if you have more carry, if you had to choose between more roll or more carry, you always choose more carry.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. Alejandra, what's next for you? What's coming up here in the next in a few weeks ahead?
Well, Thursday night I'm flying to Australia for the Australian Open with the LPGA, and then I have 3 weeks off since I'm not getting into there's a Thailand, Singapore event after Australia, but those are based off last year's money list. So I'll have 3 weeks off, and then we go to Phoenix, Carlsbad, and A&A in Palm Springs.
Great. Well,
so yeah,
we certainly want to wish you the very best for the 2016 season. We know you got a good jump on it already, and it sounds like you've got a great workout and a great practice routine already, and that's something that I think the listeners should take note of, that if you want to play at a higher level, you're going to have to put some work into it, correct?
Yes, and the other thing I learned with my workouts is they don't need to be super long workouts. Like a lot of times in your mind, you're like, oh, I have to go work out. It's going to take me an hour and a half, and all the cardio. And for me, I do 10 minutes. When I do cardio, I do 10 minutes. And people are like, is that it? And yeah, like now, if you do high intensity like interval, then it's just as useful than if you sit, or more useful than if you sit there for 30 minutes at a even pace. So what I found also working out on the road is I can do a 30-minute workout and get everything done. So it doesn't have, you can always find like a program, and if you have a hard time keeping up with it, if you keep it shorter, then you'll more likely do it more times a week than if you think it's going to take you a long time.
Right. Yeah, it's more of an encouragement if it's a shorter routine. If you have too long of a routine, a lot of people get discouraged and end up stopping early anyway. So that's great advice. Thank you for that. Alejandra, we want to thank you for joining us this morning, and we appreciate your thoughts and input. And again, Cindy and I want to wish you all the success for 2016, and we hope that you'll come back and join us on the program again.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much, honey. Good luck. Trust what you're doing, because you're going to be a superstar.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Alejandra.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was Alejandra Lanisa, LPGA Tour player and winner of the Symetra Tours Self-Regional Healthcare Foundation Women's Health Classic in 2015. What a great young lady, Cindy, and it was a pleasure having her on the show. I see our next guest, Valerie Moore, who is an LPGA and PGA Class A member. She's also the owner of Moore Mobile Golf, which we'll talk more about here. And it's a new mobile academy which brings golf to you. Of course, the amateurs out there that want to improve their game. It's her new and exciting business, which will attract many new golfers to the game through the community, neighborhood, school, and corporate environment in new and innovative ways. She worked for Golf Professional Services at Park Ridge Golf Course and John Prince Golf Learning Center from 2007-2015, serving as a teaching golf professional, LPGA Girls Golf Coordinator and Junior Golf Coordinator as well, and Director of Instruction. So let's bring her on and welcome her to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cindy. Hi, Ted. How are you?
I'm doing Valerie, how are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
We're honored and glad that you could join us this morning. We appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to do that. Cindy, I'm just going to start off real quick and just to start out with the question here, Valerie, because you've obviously been around, as we have been around the game for quite a while. What are some of the things that you've learned from some of your fellow PGA and LPGA professionals that have impacted your career, if you will, over the last 25 years? What advice would you have for some younger professionals out there just starting out?
So the big thing is I feel is to be a constant learner. I always call myself a sponge, and I have no problem admitting that I don't know something, and if I see someone doing something that I think is either outside the box or innovative, I want to know what they're doing to attract more people to the game. I just love learning new things. I think that I picked up something from just about everyone going along the way, and I think that's the big thing. Whether you're a player like Alejandra or you're a teacher, I think just learning from any person you come in contact with, I think it's always an opportunity. And it may be one instance, it may be several instances, but I just think that that's a big thing is just trying to, see who's having success at driving people to the game. How are they doing it? What are they basically getting across to the people they come in contact with? So I think the biggest thing is just being a sponge.
Yeah, and you're right. And Alejandra said it very interestingly in some of her comments. She mentioned about following for a week the number one golfer at the time, Lorena Ochoa, and just sort of being that sponge, if you will, and following her around and getting an idea of what routines that she did and how she and that's why she got to number one, of course. And Alejandra has adapted some of those same principles in her day-to-day, workout and golf routine. So that's obviously certainly very important. Was there anything specific, Valerie, that you learned from any pros that you can share with us?
I did. Probably, I would say even this happened just about 3 years ago or so. Dana Rader, I heard her speak for the first time at an LPGA seminar at the PGA show. And, you look back on moments that are just light bulb moments where your life just takes a turn. And for me, that was the moment. I remember Dana speaking about getting uncomfortable. If you're not uncomfortable, you won't grow. So if you get uncomfortable, you're going to start growing and just taking off in whatever your passion happens to be. And I remember just loving every part about golf, every area of the game, but as far as the instruction side, the teaching and club professional division, but I still hadn't quite found my vision. And so Dana Rader really painted a vision for me during that seminar, and her main message was to be you, be yourself. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and to make mistakes and, do what you're made to do and be who you were made to be. And that has just been just a huge, huge impact on me.
Yeah, and you're right. I think that whether you're a tour player or whether you're a teaching professional, I think you have to sort of, as you go along, you have to continually reinvent yourself. And that doesn't mean that you can't sort of stick to some things that you're comfortable with and you're good at if you're
sure.
But at the same time, you have to be willing to grow as a teacher. And Alejandra made an interesting point. Cindy, I know you've said this many times as well. You're never really truly going to become a master of this game. You may master certain aspects of it and become very good at it, but it's always a continual learning journey. And Cindy, you've said this many, many times on the show before, that you're continually learning something new, and it helps define who you are and helps define your game.
Absolutely. And again, what Valerie said is a lifelong learner. What am I missing? And it's funny how Alejandra was saying, she spent a week with Lorena, and then she was smart enough and had the wisdom, because the girl is only 5'2" on a good day, and she's on the LPGA tour, and playing against people that are 6 feet tall that fly it 270. It's really hard not to compare yourself and to doubt your ability, and that's what to me is so awesome, is be you, authentic to who you are.
Right.
Anyway, you just have to do that.
Yeah, you're so right.
I think that's so true. Even my college coach at Ohio State, Therese Hession, who actually played the LPGA Tour for, I think, 11 years, never lost her card in that time frame. Biggest thing I picked up from her is just be you authentically, like Cindy just said. Just she cared about us as a person before as an athlete.
Right.
She was way ahead of the curve, I believe, back in the 90s. She's just the total coach, and as you can see, she's built quite a program. She's still there. She's amazing, and I was fortunate enough to just play in their alumni match where they pair up alumni with the current team, and so that was a pretty neat experience to walk up to the tee and have Meg Mallon standing there, and I looked at her like, I think there's something wrong here. I shouldn't be teeing off. Should be playing for me. So it was pretty surreal to be able to do that. But yeah, Therese, she just cared about the total person, and I just have really infused that into my teaching and coaching with whether it be kids or adults.
Yeah, and I think you have to be in any business, particularly if you want to be successful, you have to be a very good listener. You have to listen to your students and understand what it is that they want. I think one of the problems, and again, this is not just defined in the golf industry, I think it's everywhere. I think one of the issues that a lot of people have is that they want to sort of impose their views sometimes too much and not really it may not necessarily be in the best interest of the student. So we have to be careful that make sure that we listen first and really understand what their needs are. Let's talk about the Moore Mobile Golf. Tell us about that. It sounds very exciting, and share us a little bit about the backstory and how you've managed to manifest that into reality.
Sure. So I would tell you that you probably wouldn't believe this, but I've been in the industry about 25 years, and not too long ago, actually, I actually got out of golf for 2 months, and that was an interesting experience. I took an outside sales position, and that didn't last very long because I knew that, I'm a teacher and a coach by nature, and it kind of came all together. This was my Christmas present. I woke up Christmas Eve morning, and my vision was about as clear as it's ever been, because my entire career I've always just thought outside the box and always just wanted to do something different and run my own thing, and just try to incorporate all the things I've been learning from all the various people. And so my vision became to take off to the community. Not that that's not happening, but I see it in a bigger sense. I was finding in the last 10 years I was doing so much promotional stuff in the community, which I loved, but just doing a lot more of that than being at the facility and doing the private lessons or the group instruction, waiting for people to sign up. I mean, the industry's changed a lot. I think that if you're not being creative and thinking outside the box, you're missing the boat. So basically, it came about because I thought, you know what, I could take away one extra step. I've always taught away from the ball anyway. I believe there's a lot of learning that can go on away from the golf course. Why not take it to the community, targeting women and kids in particular, create a fun, social experience, non-threatening, give them some confidence to then want to go to the golf course. So obviously the goal is to get them to the golf course, but maybe just eliminate that one step. So, taking this to executive women into corporate America, taking this to moms in the neighborhood, kids in the schools. I envision this in, taking it to a park, taking it to a 4th of July picnic, birthday parties. I mean, there's just so much that I can't stop working on this. I'm so excited. I'm about jumping out of my chair talking about it. But
well, and the thing is, and you're right, the industry is changing. What a lot of people would define as traditional lessons, even that's changing. A lot of people don't have the time. They don't have time anymore to, spend 30 minutes or an hour, in every case. Obviously, they're still out there, but the industry is competing for the same. Somebody told me once, another professional said that we're basically competing for the same 500 people for golf lessons. And I mean, I know that's a little bit of a stretch, but the concept that he was trying to say, and the reason why he mentioned this was because he had been to an event recently for his daughter. His daughter plays for LSU, and he was mentioning about an incident where he had gone to a tournament of hers, and at the course, the local pro, of course, had all the bells and whistles and everything set up, but he wasn't really, doing anything. He was just sort of sitting there waiting for people to sign up. He wasn't actively going out, so. My friend actually sat with him for a little while and talked about some of the things that he did in order to encourage people to come to the facility. And the point is that you have to be willing to change. So give us just a little snippet. What specifically is involved in your mobile golf? What can people expect from that experience?
So what you can expect is, number one, it's going to be a fun, enjoyable experience. That word is going around a lot in the industry right now, making the game fun, but you have to define what fun is. So fun for an executive woman, it might be very different than a 10-year-old, obviously. But I think, a big thing is I can't tell you, and I'm sure Cindy can relate to this, how many times I would be ready for a lesson, the gal would show up and say, I need to learn how to play golf. I need to play in my corporate golf outing. Well, when is it? Tomorrow. So, then it was like, okay, let's get you prepped. And it's not so much that these women want to be professional golfers. The biggest thing is they don't want to be embarrassed in front of their colleagues, in front of their superiors. And so, you know, my feeling with the executive women, taking this to them, whether it be their boardroom, their conference room, their clubhouse, I want to go in, show them how they can use golf as a business tool. Number one, have fun. Number two, show them how they can use it to their advantage to grow their business. And number three, get them right away on a golf course. Some ideas after, you know, a seminar with the corporate side is, you know, pretty much have a round of golf included in that, and get them out there and show them what it's all about. And I believe once you get them on the course, then they're hooked. And just giving them the confidence, that's the big part of it. They just don't want to be embarrassed. They don't want to look like they don't know what they're doing. So a lot of stuff you can do away from the golf ball. And then with kids, gosh, if you're just creative and you make it fun, then you can, you know, give them a good positive experience in their own neighborhood. You know, I foresee taking this to the neighborhoods. You know, maybe it's a play date, maybe it's a birthday party, maybe it's just a group of moms that want to get their kids together for an experience outside of, you know, the digital world. You know, so my kids it's our culture. They're wrapped up in their video games and their iPads and so forth. So I foresee, you know, taking this right to them through a variety of materials, whether it be, birdie ball, quick golf, my mini golf. There's so many things, plus a lot of things that you can use and be creative just to make it fun. So, number one, it's got to be enjoyable for the client or the customer, and then number two, that they definitely learn something, and that it just gives them enough confidence or, some inspiration to go to that golf course. Whichever golf course in the neighborhood. So I look forward to partnering with wherever I am. You know, I'm going to be mobile, so wherever I am, I look forward to working with golf courses in my community and just showing them what I'm doing so I can get them to come to the golf course. That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And you know, Cindy, you do a lot of great things with your boot camps and that. I mean, you're traveling all the time doing these different things. So really, in a sense, you know, you're not just sort of plunking yourself at one facility. I mean, you do a lot of work, obviously, when you're up in Buffalo, but you're traveling a lot and really helping to spread the game that way. And that's really, in a sense, what Valerie's talking about is she's going out into her community and not just necessarily focusing on a specific facility, but trying to get people out there. And Cindy, that's essentially what you're doing, correct?
Yeah, but I do have a home base.
Sure.
And, you know, so I think it's going to be interesting. And I think there's going to be, how far are you going to travel? Are you going to buy a van and just drive around the country?
Well, for right now, I'm going to focus on my area, South Florida here, Palm Beach County.
Well, I think it's a great idea, and I wish you all the luck in the world because you're just a marvelous person. And
thanks.
I played college golf and on the tour with Therese Hession, and she is a great friend. And she's awesome. She's a great person.
She is great, and she's made such a huge impact on my life. And, she still to this day, calls me on my birthday. And look how many athletes she's had. So, that's a special person. So, and to get a nice thank you card from the team for playing in their event, I should thank them for having these young kids hit their 3-woods over my driver. So
yeah. Valerie, what's your vision for the future? Where do you see yourself now, and where do you see yourself going as time moves on?
So I'm super excited. I'm kind of just going with with my heart and following this and believing in this. Like I said, I couldn't have written this out. I could not have scripted this. This is definitely a gift from above, and I believe it comes down to this. I believe we're all given special gifts and talents, and if you just believe in yourself and believe in you need to be where you're most effective, I think anyone can be successful. For me, I know that, just being at that job, that outside sales job, and then running to my kids' class at the school and walking in there and knowing that I wasn't happy at that sales position and walking in and having all those little munchkins run up and hug me and say, "We love golf. We're glad you're here." there's nothing better than that. So I know that I'm definitely meant to be with kids, and then I definitely know that I think that's a huge market out there with the executive women to get them going and just get them confident to playing the game. Get them away from just the registration table and get them out on the golf course in their event. So my vision is just to keep learning from so many talented people in the LPGA, and I think it's a great organization to really, bounce things off of people. Nicole Weller, Kate Tempesta have been nothing but helpful and giving me their input. And, I just envision a lot of fun. And hopefully my main goal is to attract a lot more people to the game in a non-traditional way. And I heard it on the Golf Channel on the morning drive the other day as they were talking about number 16 out in TPC Scottsdale. How is this good for golf? And the consensus was, we got to attract people to the game, non-traditional golfers in a non-traditional way. I mean, look how much fun they were having. So that's my vision. Take off, expose as many people to the game in crazy, fun, different ways, and hopefully we can grow. So.
Yeah, and like you said, you've got to be willing to step outside of the box and do something that's different, and that's Valerie. Very quickly, we're close to the end here. Share it with the folks here that are tuning in this morning where they can go to learn more information about your mobile golf and how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So my website is moore mobile.golf. And my website is being revamped. It's totally being redone with all this new information. So they can contact me directly for information as far as customizing a program for themselves. And my number is 561-662-8195.
Perfect. Well, Valerie, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We appreciate you sharing that, and the best of luck with the program. And keep us updated with it, and keep me updated and Cindy as well on how things are going. And we would love to have you come back on again and spend a little bit more time.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure being with both of you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Valerie. Good luck. And
thank you. Good luck.
Happy golfing.
Thanks, guys. Happy golfing.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, that was our very special guest this morning, and we're running out of time here. Valerie Moore, LPGA and PGA Class A member, professional, and she's working on more mobile golf, and it sounds like a great concept. Cindy, very interesting to start off this morning, part one of Own Your Game series, Define Your Game. Had a very great discussion with Alejandra. And next week, what's on the plate?
Next week, we have the pregame. So we're going to discuss who are you, what's your behavior style, what motivates you to action, and how do you make judgments.
Very good. Now, also, before we go, let me just mention as well, the Own Your Game series program is available online. Where can they go to get and become part of that or download that? How do they do that?
They should send me an email, and I think you also shared the link, didn't you, on the promotion? So you can go to Facebook or Twitter and look at the link, but you can also email me, Cindy@CindyMillerGolf.com. Cindy@CindyMillerGolf.com.
Perfect. Make sure that you do that. We want to thank, of course, everybody this morning for tuning in to the Women of Golf Show. Cindy and I certainly enjoy every week not only sharing some great information, but having some great guests on the show as well, like Alejandra and Valerie. So thank you to both of them. And thank you, all of the listeners around the world, for faithfully tuning in. And you've been listening to the Women of Golf Show this morning, Cindy Miller's Own Your Game series, Part 1, Define Your Game. And next week will be the pregame in Part 2 of the series, and we'll be sharing those each and every week. So make sure that you tune in here on to blogtalkradio.com. And on behalf of Cindy Miller and I, we want to thank you for tuning into the Women of Golf Show. God bless everybody. Have a great week, and we will see you next Tuesday right here on the Women of Golf Show. Thank you. All right, Cindy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.